everybody. Good evening and welcome. We're so glad to see you here. My name is Justin Quirino, and it's my absolute pleasure to be your host tonight. If you're tuning in from Thailand or anywhere around Asia or from the Philippines, let us know where you're tuning in from. So we want to say hi to you. We want to acknowledge you as members of the CICP or future members of the CICP. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the March General Membership Meeting of the Creator and Influencer Council of the Philippines. How you guys been? Do let us know. We want this to be a conversation too, okay? Again, in the comment section down below. I see you, Stephen. I see you, Michael. True ID Philippines is here hanging out as well. Ace Gapus is here. Jim, Michelle, Davina. How are you guys doing? It's so great to see you at another CICP event. Okay, now I know some of you here are actually new, so you don't know what this CICP is all about. So here is a very, very quick primer. The CICP or the Creator and Influencer Council of the Philippines was established last year, and it's an organization of creators, influencers, and marketing professionals that aim to elevate the country's influencer marketing ecosystem. Now, these monthly GMMs are our way of reaching out to our members and future members and creating content that is helpful for all of us here. So if you're interested in joining, just check out cicp.com.ph. It's a fun little community that we have over here, so we hope that you enjoy it and make the most of it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on, our goal for this GMM is to get a clear picture and understand the content demand from consumers to brands in the APAC region or the APAC region. With our pandemic, of course, and technology combined, creators, brands, and agencies must adapt to the changing landscape and cater to an audience that is expanding beyond the country they originated from. So tonight, let's dig a little deeper on which content works for the global audience and which doesn't, okay? Let's begin by introducing our keynote speakers for today. First, this content creator has been undoubtedly penetrating the global audience for quite a while now. He's been into content creation about travel, personal health, and well-being, and of course, his zany adventures. And our next panelist over here, and the man behind Paperbug TV, also happens to be a CICP's executive director. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Jako de Leon and Will Dasovich. Will, Jako, take it away.
All right, thank you, Justin. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Jako de Leon, the executive director of the CICP, and with me today is someone that needs no introduction, but I will introduce him anyway. He's Influence Asia's Influencer of the Year, Best YouTube Channel and Breakout Influencer in 2017. He's the 2018 Shorty Award winner for Vlogger of the Year. And of course, you all know him as Mr. Chong and Chongo. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Dasovich.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How's it going?
Man?
What's up, Jako?
Yeah, I know it's really, really early there, but I'm so happy you're here. You know what? I know we talk a lot, or I talk a lot, but
yeah, you talk a lot. I listen.
The topic for today is creating content for the global audience. And you know what? Let's jump right into it, because you're someone, as I mentioned, who has won international awards as a content creator, and you've interviewed celebrities. You've worked Hollywood celebrities and foreign celebrities. You've also worked a lot with multinational, international brands. How can someone reach that? Is that something that can be done by just anyone?
Well, yeah, I would say it's really just expanding from your home territory.
Correct.
That's what it was.
No, and I think what's great about what you've been able to do is you keep reaching outside of that. Like when you were in the Philippines, you started becoming a more local creator. And then from there,
I technically started. Yeah, I started in the States, and then I came to the Philippines, and then it was all about the storyline. And in terms of content, I was an American who didn't know any Filipino, and I learned the language within a couple years, and then that storyline changes, and this is also how this evolved into an international thing. Because I guess I outgrew that story. You can only stick to one certain storyline for so long until people get over it. You need to keep expanding and finding something different.
do you think English is a must to be a global creator?
I wouldn't say it's a must, but it definitely helped me out. Because, you know, if you speak English, you can reach
more audiences.
Yeah, a different audience. But having said that, you don't necessarily have to do that, because I could still speak Tagalog in my vlogs, which I do on my second channel. I have 3 channels.
And you,
my second
you
channel.
even put subtitles on it. So I think that's also like, you know, that's great. I mean, one quote that really comes to mind, and here, let me pull it up. It's from Bun Joon-ho, who's the director of Parasite. And when he won, he said, like, you know, once you overcome 1-inch tall barrier of subtitles, you'll be introduced to so many more, well, for in this case, amazing films. And I think it's the same for content, right? Like, because you started putting subtitles in your content, it is something that you can reach a global audience. I mean, look at the Korean wave that's really coming in, whether music or, you know, art is universal, I guess, you know, like content is universal.
Yeah, and on my second channel, my where I upload most of my vlogs that are in Filipino, you know, I still do travel vlogs like Dubai, Brunei, and all these other places where I'm only speaking. I mean, the majority of it is in Tagalog, and I mean, the thing is, English is probably an important thing, but again, it just comes down to making content that can appeal to a large amount of people. So for me, like the family vlogs is a really cool thing, is because when I'm here at home with my family, my sister, my dad, my mom, I have my mom who speaks Filipino, but my sister and my dad, they only speak English. So you're getting the best of both worlds. There's a lot of multiracial families, and there's a lot of people that can relate to these type of situations, even those who aren't Filipino. Whether the mom, it seems to be always the mom is like, whether the mom's Indian or Chinese or even Jewish, or you know, there's like a lot of these types of families or people who can relate to these antics and things that go on, and it's all about presenting the vlog or the video or your story in a way that can hit the hearts of people, doing it through comedy, through emotion, through showing the inner depths of your relationships and how much you care for one another. Again, it all comes down to presentation of your story and your perspective.
I guess from this part of it, let's move it to like how you treat, how about the fans? You know, like your fans might be from different places. How do you keep, in a way, you know, feeding all these different points of view, different cultures, different people? Do you do it via just different content, or do you, you know, like you just do you? And
so this one was difficult. And it took me a few years to really understand this and deal with this, not problem, but just situation, I guess. Because again, I started out speaking Filipino. I built up this fan base in the Philippines. And then I started to do international travels and break out of that. Because at the time, again, in 2016, when I was travel vlogging, there weren't many big travel vloggers. So at the time, I was one of the biggest international travel vloggers, just because there weren't many people doing it. So
I mean, the biggest ones were both their friends too. So
it was like Christian LeBlanc. There's only like a couple of us. So I started going all out English, one, because I was daily vlogging, and when I got into daily vlogging, I didn't have time to subtitle. Like, it was because I edited all my videos. It just took too long. So I would just speak Filipino as small as possible, just to keep the fan base there, to be able to be relatable. But I mostly went all English, and then eventually, you know, 2017, I think I moved back to the States. It was all American, and then maybe I was losing my core, a big chunk of my core Filipino fan base. Then in 2018, I moved to the Philippines, and you know, I grew this American audience, and a lot of them were like, okay, like we get it. It was cool when you traveled the Philippines for the first month or so, but like you've been there for a few months, and like, you know, I guess it was starting to get unrelatable to the American and European fan base that I built up so long in the previous years. Correct. So what I had to do, which is what I did in 2019, I believe at the end, is I created 2 channels. I created my second channel, which is like very targeted towards my Filipino fan base, and then my main channel, it's only 30% Philippines and the rest is all over the world, and yeah. I have created 2 different types of contents and go to 2 different
and I
types
guess
of
we also forget, right, like that the Filipino is global. The Filipino themselves is global.
Correct.
There are Filipinos everywhere, but they're also different, right? Like the Philams and Filipinos, OFWs are very different and very the same, I guess, in many ways, but also different from the local audience. So I guess you're right. Like kind of moving around your platforms, being able to reach more people it's additional work, but at the same time, it's worth it for the brand because you're branding yourself, right, as a global creator. In a way.
Exactly. And it opens up more opportunities, and you get to work with, like you just said, international brands.
All right. Well, you know what? Before we go, I think we have a few minutes left. What would be, I'd say, like 3 things that you can impart to the creators watching, the brands watching, the agencies watching on what to look for, or maybe just for the creators. Like, how can you as a creator be more global, I guess, or reach a global audience? Start with let's do 3. Yeah, because we have a few minutes left. Like,
I would say number 1, you want to get someone who can diversify, who can adapt, and work on different platforms. For me, again, like what we've been trying to do since the beginning is open up to different platforms. So again, we have the Made channel, which is like storytelling, international base. We have the second channel, which is more niche towards the Philippines, more comedy. And then we delved into podcasting for a more intellectual type. And this hits a different market that is, more focused on health, wellness, and wants to be stimulated by deeper conversations. So diversify. And we've worked on TikTok, we've worked on Facebook, like every single social media platform.
And one thing I just want to, I mean to cut you off, but one thing I want to tell the audience as well is that I've been working with Will for the longest time. And one thing that still amazes me is the fact that your attention to your analytics is one of the reasons why you diversify, and you really look at the audience, the fact that that 30% of your audience is in your main channel is local, or the other day you're showing me your Spotify audience and all that. Like I think that attention to the analytics is a good way to diversify, to check if the platform is right for you, and all that stuff. Sorry, go ahead. And what's number 2, if ever?
Number 2, which is similar to number 1, is you have to continue to take risks and do something different. Unless you can just create the same type of content and that does well for a certain amount of years, which is really rare.
That's true.
Because 5 years ago, the top YouTubers, like I would say maybe 80-90% of them are all gone. When our core, like the top YouTubers back in the day. Content creators have a really small lifespan, especially YouTubers. So you have to keep up with the times, which is why, last year during lockdown, I couldn't travel anymore, which was kind of what I do for my content. So I had to do something crazy, and I just went full on comedy. I started making TikToks and got creative and did stuff I didn't think I'd ever be able to do, but it worked out because you have to try as many things as possible and find out which one works. Because it's kind of like digging for gold, and the harder you work, the longer you go for it, eventually you'll find something. And then same thing with the podcast. It's a huge risk. You don't know if it's actually going to work out, but the only way to find that out is to try it. And hey, we tried it out, and luckily we were able to connect with an audience. But if it didn't work out, then at least we would have found out that it didn't work out, and then we'd go and try something else. You have to keep trying different things.
Yeah, and then I guess one thing I love about Will is one thing I learned from you basically is is to take risks and to do what you fear and learn to love it. And that's something that I personally took away from just working with you. It's really just to be bold, with your choices and do your best, right? Like do your best on it. All right. Well, we're down to the last one. What is the third thing that you can impart to our audience?
Number 3, content is king. It's really easy to get caught up with the views and the trends and what everyone else is doing, which is good to do every now and again. I use that as a marketing tool just to remind people, hey, I'm here, and, shoot my videos out to the masses every now and again. But in terms of longevity, you will be remembered for, I guess, why your content is different from the rest. Because even though there's all these other creators out there who get millions and millions of views, sometimes they come and they go. And throughout these years, we've seen people come and go. They rise fast and they fall fast as
faster.
Well. Yeah, they fall faster. So, and also when you look at the trailblazers, content creators like Casey Neistat's always going to be remembered as like the vlog king. He doesn't even sometimes get 1 million views on his videos compared to people who get 10 million views. Or, like someone who is the king of cinematography, the one everyone kind of pegs off of is Sam Colder. Up until today, the dude doesn't even have 1 million subscribers. But, the numbers don't matter because they're so good at what they do. And, the people who really care about the content, who really care about the craft, and the people under them, like all the creators, they all respect these people. And, any award I ever won, I think I was always the person with the least amount of followers or subscribers. And the reason I won these awards was because it was, again, based off of the content. So content is king. When I was, that makes me realize, I don't want to go on a tangent, but my first viral videos, which I think hold up to date and are still really funny videos, these were all made using an iPhone 4. And I shot using different angles and everything else. And, people spend thousands and thousands of dollars on nice camera equipment. Even up until today, I just did a cell phone vlog today, and some of my cell phone vlogs, they still can get like 500,000 views. And it's because it's the content, it's the story that matters. The equipment is super overrated. So there you go. I just want to throw that in there. So yeah, you just have to, and it sounds kind of vague, but you really have to stick with your craft and, I don't know, do something meaningful to you, do something that you love, do something that you are passionate about. And if you're not passionate about that thing anymore after a few years, then you have to continue on to find something else that moves you, find something else that makes you passionate about living, about creating whatever story you're trying to present. So,
Yeah, no, and that's beautiful, man. Like I think that's something we preach a lot to people who go to us for advice and whatever. It's really, do what you love, and you're gonna be successful either way. Because at the end of the day, you've already succeeded where half the people didn't, and that is finding something that you like doing, finding something you're passionate about. Most of the people that you'd meet in the world are having a problem just finding the passion. So being able to find it is already a win. And I think you're someone who embodied that, someone who's living his passion, someone who's earning from his passions. And I guess with that, I want to thank you again for being a part of this, being our keynote for today, and wish you all the best, man. And is there any, I guess, let's take the time. Where can they find you? Where can, you could do your plugs, give you your,
just search Will Dasovich anywhere. My podcast is called Superhuman on Spotify. Check that out. That's really cool because it's something that it's like the real me. It's something I've been passionate about for the longest time. And I never had the confidence to make this type of content because, well, one, the other content was doing so well. So why would I delve away or, into something when I'm already content, when, I have the security.
Correct.
But this is the real me, and it's all about health and wellness. And for me, I think this is the type of content that makes the biggest impact to my viewers or listeners is through my podcast, through Superhuman, whether you're watching the video clips on YouTube or listening to it on Spotify.
All right. Well, that's it. Will Dasovich, thank you so much. And back to you, Justin.
All right. Thank you so much, Will and Jako, for your awesome insights. Do you remember what the 3 tips are? The 3 key points of Will today? What was number 1? What was number 2? What was number 3? Go ahead, type it down below. All right, I'm just going to tell you, okay? It was diversify and adapt, okay? I'm not sure if you guys caught that. Next was to take risks and try as many things as possible and to be bold with your choices, right? And last but not least, content is king. Now, again, we do want this to be a conversation, so if you have any insights about these 3 points, do let us know in the comments below and also say where you're from. Like, we're sending a shout out to Stephen Kobe Paloma, who says, "What's up, mga chong, mga chang?" What's up, dude? Anthony Homer says, "In real life streamer here in Taiwan." What's up, Anthony Homer? How you doing? Shy Talks CDO, she says, representing vloggers of Cagayan de Oro City, Philippines. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you so much, Shy Talks. We have a lot of vloggers in the house, actually. Saying what's up to the Bukidnon vloggers, also from the Philippines. But it's definitely so cool that we have so many people, so many creators, in fact. Hundreds of creators tuning in. Oh, and by the way, we have the comment section down below for you guys to interact with each other and to interact with us. So we are encouraging you as well to share the links to, I don't know, your TikTok, your YouTube channel, whatever it is you're working on right now, your podcast. Do share it with us because we do want to cultivate a community that supports one another, right? So we'll see you in the comments, all right? But before we proceed to our fireside chat, we're going to be showing you some tips from CICP, okay? We're calling it CICP Tips and Tricks. Very, very simple indeed. And throughout the show, we're going to be sharing different tips and tricks for you. For the first one, here is someone we love very much and always has a big smile. Bogart the Explorer from Davao City, who's also over here to share his tips and tricks in creating content for a global audience. Ladies and gentlemen, Bogart the Explorer.
G'day mates, it's me, Booger the Explorer from Davao City. Now, having done this content creation thingamajig for over a decade now, I think I'd be able to teach you a thing or two about creating content for a global audience. Whether it's interviewing Hollywood heavy hitters or doing projects with international companies, one tip I can leave you all is simply to be confident. Be confident with the content you put out and with the you that you share online. If you know in your heart that your content educates, entertains and or empowers, then you're already winning half the battle. As for being global, with the dawn of the internet and social media platforms alone, the world has always been our audience. It's just about attracting and nourishing the people who share and enjoy our content, passions and selves. After all, content is quite universal. And before I go, just remember that in the interwebs, you can be anything you want. So whatever you decide to do, just work hard to be good at it. Love it, and trust me, people here and from around the world will take notice. That's it for me, and that's 1 minute. See you tomorrow. Oh, di ba dito 1 minute? Loh, kausalan din mo agi. Magkukabalo.
And that was our first of 3 CICP tips and tricks for this GMM. Have you taken note of those tips? What I got mostly from Bogart is you have to have enough confidence to wear a mermaid outfit at the beach and flap around like crazy. Thank you so much, Bogart, for the priceless advice. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I know that one of the most interesting parts of our GMM is the fireside chat, right? And today, we're going to begin our meaty discussion by introducing you to our panelists for this GMM. Please welcome freelance producer, media consultant, and former True ID content head and MTV VJ, Ut Panichkul. Ut Panichkul.
Yeah,
I asked you about that earlier. Ut Panichkul. What's up, Ut? How you do, dude?
Mabuhay, the Philippines.
Mabuhay. We also have with us Cutprint Productions podcaster of Sleeping Pill by Inka, Inka Magnaye. Joining us today. Hi, Inka.
Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
Inka.
Hi, Jess. Hi, Pleasure
Hi,
to be here.
Inka.
And last but not least, we have UANP Dean for Integrated Marketing Communications and APAC Tambuli organizer. Let's please welcome Dr. Jerry Kliachko. There he is.
Hi.
Hi, Jerry. How you doing? Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Okay, can't really hear. Yeah, can you try talking a bit, Jerry? Can't really hear you right now.
You can't hear me.
Oh, there. That's better. That's better. Jerry Kliachko, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, by the way, Jerry, if you have a headset, that might help. Just in case.
Yeah.
But we're
For a minute. Yeah.
all right. Thanks, Jerry. But we're so excited to have people we can say are so credible internationally. You know what I mean? Like I've been seeing Ut on TV since for as long as I can remember, right? It's like VJ Ut. Here's VJ Ut. You know what I mean? And he's just like this fun guy who presents things in a very interesting, entertaining way, right? And then you have Inka over here, who has been in radio. Well, who was in radio since she was a teenager, right? And has recently become a global phenomenon on TikTok, right?
Oh, thanks.
And and today's discussion is about going global, pretty much. Should you go global? Should you focus on the local scene? But the brands are in the local scene. Shouldn't I focus on the local scene? What about the brands from the international scene? What's more beneficial, right? So we're gonna be getting into that stuff today. But first and foremost, we have people who are saying hi to you guys. So can you just say hi to everyone in the comments? What's up, guys?
Hi to
Hi,
everyone in the
everyone.
comment section.
Mabuhay, everyone.
What is up?
So happy to be part of this.
Hello.
There you go. Hi, Jerry.
Hi,
Hello.
Jerry.
Hello. Do you hear me now?
We can
I hear you
now.
loud and clear. Thank you
Perfect.
so much,
All right.
Jerry.
Welcome back.
You're welcome.
Welcome
Thank
back.
you. Yeah.
All right, guys. Now, honestly, we could probably spend hours talking tonight, right? Because content is so interesting. You could make content about anything, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
but today, I think that's what we're gonna try to get to the bottom of, right? Should a creator focus on creating global content or local content? But because you guys are so experienced in global content, we're gonna get your insights on the benefits of global content as well,
Yes.
right? So for each of you, what made you guys decide that you wanted to focus on global? Maybe let's start with Ut.
I think for me, it's because I had the platform of being on MTV Asia. So I had the recognition in the regional market. So that has helped propel me to create content in a sense where it reaches out to more than the local market. That's for me personally. And going back to what you were saying, Justin, I think it's like, how do we decide whether we want to do local or global content? I think it just comes down to you as a personality. If you do local content, then it's for the local market. If you want to do something that caters across to other borders, then basically you need to kind of think through it so that you're speaking to a much bigger audience. But I'm going to hand this over to Inka and Jerry, so you can also be
Okay.
part of this as well.
No, yeah, I absolutely agree with what Ut was saying because how did I decide? I didn't really think about that because this is the kind of content that I make is the kind of content that I consume. So it's not necessarily, it wasn't like do I make a local or global kind of thing? It was just like, I just wanted to make things that I like because that is the most effective way to make successful content. I think if you like your own, then that's then people will see that. People will see that you like your work and will respond in kind. So I think it was more of like it was made aware to me about global versus locals when I started doing an exclusive podcast on Spotify, because they brought up the question, do you want to do episodes in Filipino? And I was thinking, oh, okay, I didn't even realize that it was something that I had to think about. But yeah, other than that, it was a decision that fell on my lap, basically.
So it seems like more than strategy, it was a question of passion for you.
Yeah. In a sense, you could say that. But when it came to my podcast, it was more like, if I did episodes in Filipino, it would become a little bit too localized and might alienate the other. Because I found out at the end of the year that 81 countries listened to my podcast.
Wow. That's awesome.
So I know, it's insane. So if I did any Filipino episodes, thank you. If I did any Filipino episodes, that would alienate probably so much of my audience. So that was when I made the decision to be like, no, I need to keep this in English.
Copy. All right, thank you so much. What about you, Doc Jerry, or just Jerry?
Jerry's fine.
Jerry?
Fine. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Well, first, I think I have to put this a little bit in context, because both of you are influencers. Well, I'm not one of those, at least not yet. But but I guess the reason here, they asked me to speak a little bit about this award show, this advertising award show that we started in the university, from the university, right? But it's really for industry. So this award show is all about brand purpose. Effective brand purpose. So we award marketing advertising campaigns that show, that promote positive values, purpose to people. And today, this is, every single brand around the world is now embracing purpose. So when we started this was, I guess, here we were very clear from the very beginning that we wanted to really put this out, not just in Asia Pacific, but maybe later on even to the world. The whole idea of spreading good advertising through messages, marketing messages, right? So yeah.
So we're specifically talking about APAC Tambuli, yes?
Right.
Awesome.
Right. APAC,
So what would be great today is that we kind of have the inside scoop from you as to how to win at APAC Tambulis, right? Like what you guys are looking for in content.
Or something?
Yeah.
Well, this year, so we already launched this, and we're going to have the awards in June, and entries are coming in this April. But for the first time, we have a whole category on content creation and influencer marketing, thanks to CICP partnership. So you guys, we're very thankful for this partnership. So yeah, we welcome now entries from content creators and influencers, whether the person or brands, right? This award show is basically two things. One is precisely brands that promote positive values, purpose, and at the same time effective. So it's not enough just to to say nice things and good things and feel good things. That's important that they actually sell, that they actually help push business, right? So it's a combination of those two things that we really look at, and of course creativity, which is very much part of content. So yeah.
All right, awesome, great way to kick us off. So with that, we have our next question, which is specifically for Ut and Jerry over here. I know you already touched on this a little bit, Jerry. So let's get to Ut for a bit, and let's see if it checks out, right? So let's say that we've decided, all right, I'm gonna make some global content, right? So the next question is, how do I scale up existing local content or campaigns in order to reach a global audience? So do you have any tips on that? How do you scale up existing local content or campaigns to reach a global audience? At?
Existing local content. I rather go about it like starting from scratch, creating new content altogether. because when you create local content or you have existing local content, basically it might not translate to a global market. So I rather just start new. That would be my perspective on it.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you very much. Sir Jerry?
Yeah. Well, not so much. Well, it's very different, right? It really depends on. There are campaigns. There are advertising campaigns that are dictated from global. There are global or regional strategies, objectives, campaigns. But for the most part, there are different experiences. But I think a lot of the global content still needs to be localized, because what's really key here is content that connects with your target market, content that is relevant to your target market, content that speaks to your target market. And although there are universal messages, values, etc., that people connect to, but then there are always nuances depending on culture, depending on people in different places. Well, an example here perhaps is Dove. I mean, this is an example even in Tambuli, right? Dove is globally known to promote real beauty, right? For several years, they've been talking about this, how women are beautiful as they are. I mean, and we don't have to dictate what it means for you to be beautiful. The fact that you're a woman and the way you are, it's beauty. Now that kind of message, of course, is understandable, recognized, accepted, and loved everywhere in the world. So, but you saw that there were executions in different countries. The way that particular strategy is executed is very much dependent on the cultures and on the target markets and the people of each culture. So I guess it's really a little bit of doing global, right?
Global. I like that.
Global. That's nice.
Global.
Yeah.
Athena Ronya says, "You said it, Dr. K." And Derek says, "True though, relevance and relatability, indeed." Right? Okay, so with that, Dr. K, Jerry, how, if I were to make something right now, you mentioned Dove, right? If I were to make something right now and I want to win a Tambuli award, what is your best advice for me?
So again, Tambuli's about...
You're really looking for cheat codes, Just, huh?
I mean, this is the inside scoop, sort of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to make the other stop, right? But anyway, you see, this is about brand purpose. So
purpose. All right.
Nowadays, it's not enough just for brands to talk about what they do. This brand is whatever, a detergent, and it does this and it does that, or
Sure.
But today, people really want to ask the question. It's not just about what a brand can do, but what the brand means. What does this brand mean, right? I mean, I will mean, yeah, right.
Mean,
so I
okay.
will, like Dove means beauty. It's not just the soap or whatever, right? Or Ariel, for example. Ariel just happens to be all soap, right? But Ariel is comes. There's a wonderful advertising campaign done out of India, a BBDO agency in India. Ariel is a laundry soap of Procter & Gamble, and they did a fantastic campaign that has been going on for some time, which is basically changing this idea that women are the only ones who will do chores at home. So they tried to change behavior by encouraging men to do chores at home. And they began the laundry, and they called this campaign "Share the Load."
Very clever.
And it was a fantastic, and the way they executed this, I mean, and it was a fantastic campaign that won. So you have a purpose that is relevant. Again, that connects, that is meaningful, and that speaks to the heart of people. I mean, that speaks to the heart of people, and anywhere, any human being can relate to something like that. So, so I guess, and of course, if it's done well, then it will sell. it will be effective, it will be seen by a lot, it will be shared by a lot, etc. Right?
True.
So
Okay.
well, yeah. I'm sure the others have something to say.
All right. Thank you so much, Jerry. So there you go. All right. You want to win a Tambuli Award? You just got to have purpose. You know, got those positive values. Has to be very meaningful and effective, of course. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Sir Jerry. And now for Inka, you know, Jerry was talking a lot about purpose and meaning, and I know in your content as well, you really like to focus on that. You know, I mean, like, Inka is one of the few content creators I know, at least, who really has a heart behind her content and is always thinking about the viewer or the listener, because she wants to make that person's day better somehow, be of service, right?
Yeah.
So with that, the question we have for you today, Inks, is how do you create unified content which transcends cultural or even language barriers?
It's funny because I was thinking about exactly this earlier, and I was thinking about the things that come to mind when I want to make content that a lot of people will be able to consume. It's got to be relatable. It's got to be educational, or they need to get something from it, like something positive from it. Or it has to be, what was the other one? But usually it's those two. It has to be relatable, or they can gain something from it. Something helpful, something educational. So that's something that I thought about when I was first approached to do my podcast. So Sleeping Pill with Inka, for those of you who don't know, it's a podcast specifically designed to help you go to sleep. Because I was approached by Cutprint Podcast Network, and then they asked me if I wanted to do a podcast with them. I was like, yeah, sure. And then they were like, what do you want to do? And the first thing that came to mind was, I want to put people to sleep. Because before this one, I started creating like small videos on TikTok, like a minute long, and I called those sleeping pills because they were like very short, and the purpose of those were just that's where it came from.
That's how it started. Okay.
Yeah. So the purpose of that is just basically me saying, it's okay, you can relax now, close your eyes, take a deep breath. And it was like, I got so many comments from people, and the comment, like, people were just like, oh my gosh, I needed this. Why am I crying right now? Thank you so much. Like, I feel like you're my mom, you know, other iterations of these things, right? And I was like, wow, like, there are so many people who need permission to relax, because sometimes you want to take a break. Yeah, you want to take a break, but you just can't, because you're just like, I have that deadline tomorrow. I need to take care of this. I need to take care. So what I always say in my podcast is, it's okay. You can take care of yourself for the next few minutes. Everything that you have to do, you can come back to after this. For now, just focus on yourself. It's just you and me. And that became the heart of my content, because there is a lack of that in mainstream content creation, at least, because a lot of people understandably just want to entertain, and that's great, because that's what I look for too. But there aren't enough content creators that help people just calm down and settle in. And that's where I kind of like, you know, snuck myself in there. I'm like, I'm going to do this. You know, this is where I'll be, because I personally, that's my favorite thing to do. I want to chill. So that's how it happened.
And I guess you can say that that's universal, regardless of where you're from in the world. Yeah. Everybody needs to chill.
Yeah, it's relatable. They get something positive from it. They learn how to relax.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so they know how to relax and everything. So if you wanna fall asleep, check out Sleeping Pill with Inka.
Inka's voice is so soothing. I mean, just hear her talking, I'm like, oh wow.
I know.
I feel calm right now.
Oh, awesome. See, there you go. It's just the magical touch of my voice.
But I just want to touch on what Inka was saying. It is very important when you have a purpose. When you have a purpose, I think it takes content to a whole new other level. You're being conscious of like having someone who's watching it go away with something. I think that's very good.
Awesome. It's consistent with the Tambuli Awards criteria and everything. So I think we're all on the right track. It's good.
Yeah,
all right. So now
it's an important human need to sleep, to rest.
Yeah.
to be mentally well, etc.
Yes.
Soothed. Yes. Awesome.
Exactly.
All right. So we're on the same train now, right? So global market, purpose, right? Service, especially. Now, we're looking for advice for our content creators. Let's say this content is out there, right? What are some engagement techniques to keep in mind when you're catering to an international market? Maybe we can start with Ut. Yeah.
I think you always need to be conscious about the sensitivity about religions, about culture, and everything. So creating content that is neutral, that will transcend different types of cultures, you need to be conscious of that. I think that's very important.
Yeah, no, I
That's
agree
right.
because like every time, so in Sleeping Pill, I guide my listeners through like a meditation kind of thing. I help with like breathing cycles, and then after that, I read them stories. So it's like I read you to sleep, basically. That's my podcast, and my screening process for the stories that I read on Sleeping Pill is exactly that. I have to make sure that it is very neutral, and I have to be sensitive to all the countries listening to my podcast.
Taking it at its base, basically.
Yeah, I mean, because you're speaking to a very big and wide audience, so I think you need to make sure that sensitivity is in place, because each culture is so different, especially on local. Because something that you create for the local market won't necessarily, translate to another market.
Yes. It's like you're looking for that Venn diagram of like what is like the perfect thing that can fit everything in the middle. You know what I mean? Including the eight, like a heart right there in the middle, including ages as well. Like I have a wide range of people listening to me from like later in the age, and I have videos of babies falling asleep to my podcast. So it's something I have to think about, and a lot of people should and would benefit from thinking about as well.
Think about everyone, for sure. Sir Jerry, anything you'd like to add to that? Engagement techniques to keep in mind when catering to an international market?
Right. Well, I mean, sensitivity to different cultures, but at the same time finding something what is universal among all people, right? So I guess it's a fusion of these two, or a mix of these two, right? And both are very important because that's the universality. The universality is what will get you through across cultures. I mean, for example, Korean content. I mean, the world is crazy with. I don't know about it, but certainly in this part of the world, right? K-drama, K-pop.
Yes.
I don't know. Imagine BTS. How this has transcended the world, and the world does not speak Korean. I mean,
True.
So,
That's true. It's a very good point. Yeah.
And
Now we're learning Korean.
Yes, we are.
You remember that meme? You remember that meme that came out like sometime last year during the pandemic, and here in the Philippines, people were saying, "Wow, at the end of the pandemic, the national language in this country will be Korean." Because I mean,
Wow.
the whole world was just glued on this. So I mean, no, but seriously, I think from the entertainment standpoint, Korea has done an exceptional thing on how they're able to transcend cultures. I mean, if we want to learn how to transcend cultures and be global, and well, I mean, we have something to learn from Korea, I think.
Yeah,
So-
true.
Indeed. And you can't take away from the production value. It's just so good. It's so excellent. Because I'm a boy band fan myself. You know what I mean? And like,
Just say it, Justin.
gone are the
Just say
days
you're
of
a
Backstreet
BTS fan.
Boys and everything. And I'm like looking at K-pop, and I'm like, yes, indeed. Okay. All right, guys. So to wrap it all up, we just want to ask you guys for maybe 3 tips, right? Could you leave our viewers with 3 concrete tips that they can take so that their content will appeal to global audiences and consumers?
Okay, I'll
give
start
one
off.
each?
Yeah, can we do one each? That'll be easier.
Yeah.
You want to do
Right.
one each? All right, sure. Let's do one each. Just one each.
Okay.
For me, I'll
Go for it.
start off. Just be passionate in what you want to create. Be real.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I
Be
agree.
real.
I agree, because that's the center of my brand, authenticity. But yeah, Jumping off of that, always have a heart of your content, because that's going to be the compass. That's the direction that will help you when you're lost. If you go back to the heart of your content, it'll help you get out of a creative rut if you fall into one. Have purpose, basically, yeah.
Go back to the heart of your content. Oh, really? Okay. All right, Jerry, what about you?
Well, I was going to say, be clear about your purpose, right? Be clear about your purpose. Be meaningful. Be meaningful, and you know, that is what will connect, I think, to audiences, and speak to the heart. I mean, speak to the heart of people. So, yeah.
Must speak to your heart.
You must speak to your heart. And show the world with you.
Jeez.
All right, thank you guys so much. I think I'm sure that our viewers got a lot from that for sure, and they can even rewatch this, and that'll be great. But before we let everybody go, Jerry, would you like to promote the Tambuli Awards one more time?
Well, I think I already did, but anyway, we're happy to accept entries, especially under the content creation and influencer marketing. You can check out our website for details, right? Just type APAC Tambuli Awards. Thank you.
There you have it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was one of the meatiest, absolutely meatiest and insightful fireside chats that we've had. It feels really, really good to have these conversations with top KOLs. Such as these. So thank you again so much to our panelists, Inka, and Jerry. Thank you guys so much for your time, for your heart and your meaning and your purpose, and sharing that with all of us over here, and for your beautiful insights, of course. But before we wrap this up, it's time for another CICP tips and tricks. This time it's brought to us by Sresuda Winitsuvan of True ID Thailand. Let's listen in as she talks about some tips on creating content for the global audience. Let's watch this.
Number one, use the right content type. I recommend to use video, picture, or music. Maybe we can think about what kind of content that we would like to use in order to make people, wherever you are, whoever you are, can understand the same, which is the image, video, even though music. So this kind of content, no need to use language to describe. So you have to choose type of content in order to break this limitation. Show the content that contain talented people. You need to know what are the global platforms or global tools, and make sure that your content are be seen in those platforms. And my technique, I would like to use hashtag.
All right, there you have it, guys. Now, we certainly you have a taste of what's in store for you here at CICP, right? So if you're a member or you're a future member, we hope that you're excited, okay? So if you're ready, here it goes. Listen up, because the first ever CICP Town Hall will be happening this April 6 at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Okay, so mark it on your calendars. April 6 at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Plus, it is exclusive to CICP members. So can you imagine meeting all your CICP directors up close and personal and having a conversation with them? Well, imagine no more, ladies and gentlemen. You can do so over here, and just make sure that you join, all right? So you may be wondering right now what to expect during our town hall. Well, first, there will be an oath-taking of members and a peek at what CICP has in store for all of us this year. like the different programs that CICP is about to do for the rest of the year. And guess what? This is your chance to volunteer in these programs and be active in the organization. Second, we'll be introducing the CICP Clubhouse. That's right. This is yet another avenue for us to talk more about the influencer industry, where you, as a member, can let your voice be heard and start conversations on relevant topics in the industry. Sounds pretty awesome to me. And it's very exciting stuff, to be completely honest. So what are you guys waiting for? If you're watching this right now and you're still not a member of CICP, then it's time to join us. Visit www.cicp.com.ph and register. You can't miss all these amazing opportunities coming your way. So go ahead, guys, sign up and join. And with that, guess what? It's time for another CICP tips and tricks. This time, Maan Kayabiyab of Organized na Bahay, Organized na Buhay will share her tips and tricks on creating content for the global audience. Ladies and gentlemen, let's watch Maan.
Organize na bahay, organize na buhay. Yes, ako yon. Maan Kayabiyab or Mami Maan. Siguro 4 na bagay. Bibilisan natin. Number 1, what is that one thing that you really wanna do? Even nobody will pay you, kahit hindi ka bayaran, ay gagawin mo. Number 2, are you good at it? Number 1 ka ba dyan? Hindi number 2, hindi number 3, hindi number 4 ha. Ikaw ba ang number 1? At may credentials ka ba to back it up? Number 3, who needs it? Sino sa mga community mo, sa circle of friends mo, or dun sa circle of influence mo ang nangangailangan yan? Meron ka bang problemang nasusolusyonan? And number 4, provision follows. Yes, you have to put food on the table. Dadating yan kung sinusunod mo yung 1, 2, and 3. And True ID gave me that. True ID gave me a platform for my content. And soon, Organized na Bahay, Organized na Buhay will be seen not only in True ID Philippines, but also Vietnam, Indonesia, and Thailand! So, sundin niyo yung mga 4 na tips na yun. Lagi niyong tatandaan, kung kaya ni Maan, kaya niyo rin. Wala tayong hindi kakayanin dahil kaya ni Lord!
Alright, thank you so much, Maan. And it's always a great reminder to aim for the top, right? To be the best at what you do. So thank you so much, Maan, for that reminder. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for our CICP tips and tricks. We hope you learned a thing or two from our new segment. And at this point, we can't end this GMM without putting the spotlight on a well-deserving creator. Ladies and gentlemen, let's watch this.
Hi, CICP. My name is Ron, and I'm the founder of Podcast Network Asia. And again, thanks very much for giving us the opportunity to share our journey here today in your 6th GMM. So again, let me just walk you through how we started out, and again, how we're trying to also elevate influence in the world of podcasting as we know it. So we started out around 2019, and what we noticed is that in the spectrum of podcasting in the Philippines, only 20% of the local podcasts here in the Philippines are Filipino made. And there's a lot of consumption in the Spotify charts that we saw. And we were very curious why there were only so few podcasts that are Filipino made. And when we actually looked deeper, what we found out was, number 1, there's a lack of consistency in the audio that they actually do. Number 2, when we asked about the podcast and the knowledge that they have in podcasting and their audience, they actually didn't know who that audience was. Number 3, they didn't have a playbook on how to market and scale their shows. And number 4, there wasn't any decent monetization that were happening, save for a very few top-level podcasts. So we wanted to see if there's something we can actually do to act as a catalyst to build a community around podcasting and also turn it into a proper industry. So what we created was a startup accelerator in an incubator, literally replicating what the Philippine startup ecosystem did here. And we put that into work through podcasting. And the goals that we had was very simple. First, we wanted to level up and standardize the quality of podcasts that were set here in the Philippines. Number two, we wanted to scale up the shows with a repeatable and scalable business model that allowed them to monetize their content. Number three, we wanted to bridge the gap in analytics and data. That's why we created our own podcast analytics and monetization platform that allows brands and podcasters to actually match, which is called Podmetrics. And lastly, we wanted to also monetize podcasts. And we do that, like what I said, through our platform called Podmetrics, so that they can actually make the best decisions, finding the right tribes for the right brands as well. So again, luckily through this whole pandemic, it was a blessing in disguise for us because we were able to really still create content, and the listenership actually skyrocketed as well. So when we started out in August 2019, there was already only 5 shows, and now we 105 shows already, and we actually have 15% market share of the top 200 podcasts in the Philippines, easily making us number 1 on that category. And also, we're trying to replicate this and wave the Filipino flag along with us as we replicate the same strategy onto the biggest podcast market in the region, which is Indonesia. So again, thank you very much, and we're also going to be very active in the whole influencer community, and we wish you the best, CIC. Appreciate it, and have a good day.
Great work, Ronster Baetiong of Podcast Network Asia. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us and for helping so many people through Podcast Network Asia. You guys can connect to Ronster and think of ways to collaborate in the comment section down below, okay? So go ahead. This is why we formed CICP and put the spotlight on creators like Ronster, right? Who knows? You might be the next one on Spotlight. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our March General Membership Meeting. What a fun little meeting that we have here, right? And we hope that you do join us for the next one, and we hope that you learned something new tonight. We'd also like to thank our keynote speaker, Will Dasovich, with CICP Executive Director. I was about to say your Dimples nickname. We'll save that for another day. Jako De Leon, and of course our panelists, Ut Penichko, Inka Magnaya, and Dr. Jerry Kliachko. And last but not least, our viewers out there from around the world, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for leaving your comments. Again, here's a reminder to drop, well, number 1, drop a like this page, and drop a link to your YouTube, your TikTok, whatever page it is that you're trying to build, your podcast. Drop a link in the comments below, okay, so we can all see your stuff. Now, again, don't forget, if you want to be part of CICP, then just visit www.cicp.com.ph and register to become a member. And thank you so much for joining us today. It's been so much fun. This has been your host, Justin Quirino. Thank you, and see you again next time. Be safe, everybody.